Hello, historic people. I'm Corky Carricker, and this is Historic Metals. It's Greek week, and on this episode, we're going to time travel back to ancient Greece. Now, what prompted me to choose ancient Greece? I can only begin to tell you how excited I am to have received this package from a friend of mine who watches the channel. He's become a friend since I started the channel, and I've met him in the community online of silver and gold and vintage metal and antique historic metal enthusiasts. He sent me a letter which I'll read to you, which the text doesn't show. There we go. Get some light glare on that. And he sent me a gift. Let me begin to tell you about this gift. It's amazing. My friend, Vote for Pedro. Hi, Vote for Pedro. Good to see you. Thank you so much. I'm about to read your letter to the world because you didn't write anything personal in there, and I think it needs to be shared. Some of the insights and knowledge that you dropped, along with this beautiful gift, need to be shared with the world. Pedro has sent me two ancient 2,500-year-old Greek drachma coins. Now I'm going to try to get that to focus, and then I'm going to try to get it facing the right angle so that you can see Alexander the Great's face on there. Let me just fiddle with it a little bit here. I'll do this under the proper camera in just a moment, but I just want to show you kind of right out of the box here the silver coin that he has sent to me from ancient Greece. And you'll notice that they're in two various different conditions. One is very shiny and one is very dark. Now, granted, this is terrible lighting for this, but it gives you the idea that one is kind of an antique look and one is kind of shiny. So now let me tell you about that by reading to you this letter that I got from my buddy, Vote for Pedro. There at the bottom, there's his name. Haha, it's very difficult to get all of this angles right here. So, hi Corky. Like you, I too have a love of history. I think I mentioned to you that I have a small collection of Greek coins. Enclosed are two coins for your personal collection, not to be used for a giveaway on your channel. The coins are Greek silver drachmas. At the first time they were struck, the coins would be equal to a week's pay for a typical tradesman. Now, I did find out in my research, some scholars believe it's only a day's pay or even half a day's pay, but they also reference that it depends on the kind of labor or juror, which was like a business person or lawmaker, that you were. So different people, of course, would earn different incomes. I don't want to deviate too much from the letter or give away too much of what I'm about to share in the rest of the video, but just leave it to say that at the time of this writing, that Vote for Pedro had discovered that these would be equal to about a week's pay for a typical tradesman, and my research only disagreed by a day or two on that. The obverse depicts Alexander the Great as Hercules, with the reverse showing Zeus seated on his throne. The coins are both over 2,500 years old, being struck sometime between 336 and 323 BC. The coins' numismatic values are minimal, mostly due to their condition, which is together a combined value of around $70 to $80 for these two coins. To me, the real value is their connection to the past. Also, there's something magical about holding something that is over 2,500 years old. Wanted to share the magic. And it is magic. These are not replicas. These are not fakes. These are not reproductions. These are 2,500 plus year old coins that, in the case of one, was heavily circulated and widely used. The other one, pretty well protected, still has some good detail. They're silver based, so they are softer than, say, iron or something. And they've done pretty well for 2,500 years. He goes on. I included two coins because each tells a different story. You will notice that the extremely poor condition coin has two punch marks on it, one on the side and one on Alexander's face. Now I'll try to show you that quickly here. This is the lower condition coin, and you'll see that there is if I put this paper behind it, there is a notch cut in it. And if I flip it over and try to show Alexander's face on this side, it's difficult, but there is a punch mark. It's just so dark, it's very hard to see in this camera light. That said, this coin has been cut intentionally. And he goes on to explain, these punch marks represent travel outside the kingdom of Macedonia. Each time a coin traveled from one kingdom to the next, it had to be tested. Yes, they even had fakes back then. Testers would punch the coin to make sure it was solid silver. The better condition coin, which is this bright silver one here, must have stayed within the boundaries of Macedonia. I can't help but wonder what amazing stories these coins could tell about the people who treasured them from a time so long ago. Keep up the great work, brother. Your friend, Vote for Pedro. Thank you for the beautiful letter, Pedro. That's just super cool to have a typed letter in the modern world containing coins from 2,500 years ago. The Greek drachma, one of the world's earliest coins. So, folks, let's travel through time and discover together how the drachma fueled an empire, traveled the world, lived its life, ended its life, came back to life again as a coin in a new era of civilization, lived two lives, and became historic metals. Let's get right into it.
Greek drachmas are kind of famous, and are definitely historic metals. Did you know the Greek drachma is used in the video game Assassin's Creed Origins, set in Greek-ruled ancient Ptolemaic Egypt, which existed from 305 BC until 30 BC, ending with the death of Cleopatra in 30 BC. The drachma is used as currency by the players in Assassin's Creed to purchase weapons, outfits, and other in-game items. It's also used in the subsequent game Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is set in ancient Greece. The drachma is also mentioned in William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar in Mark Antony's famous Friends, Romans, Countrymen speech. Raincrow Studios' game Cubbins uses silver and gold drachs as the game's main form of currency. Now wait till you hear how it lived, died, and lived again for hundreds of years each time it came around. Let's dig in. The ancient Greek drachma coin gets its name from the Greek verb meaning to grasp, like you might grasp something that you are holding tightly in your hand, for example. It's believed that the same word with the similar meaning of handful or handle is found in ancient tablets of the Bronze Age that have been discovered. Based on archaeological research and ancient documents, it's generally agreed upon by historians and linguists that the word drachma originally meant a fistful or a grasp of 6 oboloi or eboloi, which were metal sticks often used as actual cooking spit rods, such as one might imagine being used for rotisserie-style meat being cooked over a fire. Its original value is often cited as being equivalent to that of a handful of arrows as well. So what we know now is that they might have been cooking spits or arrows or both, but they were in some way metal rods. These rods were used as a form of currency as early as 1100 BC and were an early form of bullion, which in this definition would be bronze, copper, or iron ingots that are denominated by weight. A hoard of over 150 of these rod-shaped oboloi was once uncovered at the Heraion of Argos in Peloponnese. 6 of them are on display at the Numismatic Museum of Athens in Greece, even still today. Around the 5th century BC, some 2,520 years ago, Athens gained commercial preeminence as the major trade hub for a large part of the Greeks' known world of the time, and the Athenian drachma didn't take too long to become the standard for all who dealt in Athens. Ancient Greek coins normally had distinctive names in daily use. The Athenian tetradrachm was called owl. The Aeginetic stater was called chelone. The Corinthian stater was called hippos, or horse, and so on. Each city would mint its own and have them stamped with recognizable symbols of the city, known as a badge in numismatics, along with suitable inscriptions, and they would often be referred to either by the name of the city or the image depicted. The exact exchange value of each was determined by the quantity and quality of the metal, which reflected on the reputation of the mint. Drachma were minted on different weight standards at different Greek mints. The standard that came to be most commonly used, though, was the Athenian, or Attic one, which weighed a little over 4.3 grams. Fractions and multiples of the drachma were minted by many states, most notably in Ptolemaic Egypt, which minted large coins in gold, silver, and bronze. It's difficult to estimate comparative exchange rates with modern currency because the range of products produced by economies of centuries gone were very different from those of today, which makes item-for-item comparison calculations very difficult. However, in half a dozen years ago, some historians and economists did publish an estimate that in the 5th century BC, a drachma had a rough value of $46.50 USD, as per the 2015 US dollar value for buying. Classical historians regularly say that in the heyday of ancient Greece, the 5th and 4th centuries, the daily wage for a skilled worker was 1 drachma since 425 BC. Modern commentators have also derived from research that half a drachma per day, given 360 days per year, would provide a comfortable subsistence for the poor citizens for the head of a household in 355 BC. As a result of the conquests of Alexander the Great, the Athenian drachma went on to become the monetary unit of the Hellenistic period world. After Alexander's conquest, the name drachma was used in many of the Hellenistic kingdoms in the Middle East, including the Ptolemaic Kingdom in Alexandria and the Parthian Empire based in what is today modern-day Iran. In fact, the Arabic unit of currency known as the dirham, known from pre-Islamic times, and afterwards inherited its name from the drachma or dirham as well. Likewise, the dirham is still the name of the official currencies of Morocco and United Arab Emirates, and the Armenian dram also derives its name from the drachma. This Greek drachma coin was quite the international trendsetter in its glory days. Troubles would beset the mighty coin in time, though. For as it would happen, just like nearly all other precious metal coins throughout history, eventually the mighty pure silver coins of 1 drachma and its multiples and fractions were debased. Debasement means that they were devalued of their precious metal content, as progressively higher proportions of copper were added in them to make the formerly pure silver coins into a mixed alloy of silver and copper, eventually, of course, becoming mostly copper. Seems like we've heard that story before, and not so far back in history, eh folks? Remember gold and silver US currency? Anyway, as a result of such metal value debasement, and of course as foreign Ottoman Empire invaders gained control in Greece, the drachma in its original form eventually disappeared from use. The world was without drachmas now for the first time in several hundred years, and this would be the case for quite some time while the Ottomans did their thing in the islands. When Greece finally achieved its independence from the Ottoman Empire in 1828, the new Greek phoenix was briefly introduced as the official monetary unit. The phoenix's use was short-lived, however, lasting only about 5 years until 1832, when the phoenix was replaced by the drachma once again. Now for the second life of the drachma. Only now this second incarnation of the drachma coin featured the image of King Otto, who reigned as the modern Greece's first king for 30 years, from 1832 to 1862. The new King Otto edition of the drachma was divided into 100 lepta and continued to be in production for 170 years, from 1832 when King Otto first launched it, until finally in 2002 when the drachma ultimately ceased to be legal tender, when the euro, the monetary unit of the European Union, became Greece's sole modern currency. Thus ended the second life of the Greek drachma. Perhaps there will be yet a third version of the drachma someday, should the euro ever be displaced in Greece, but for now the drachma coins are history. And that, historic people, is the tale of how the Greek drachma lived 2 very long, full and important lives, and how these ancient and important drachma coins became historic metals. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on historic metals in the future. And as always, thanks for watching.